This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cinema Head Cheese Podshort for The Butterfly Effect. This is Kevin Moyers, and this is not the Ashton Kutcher movie. This is actually a limited podcast series that is an Audible original. Audible's known for being the audiobook app or website. I believe they're an Amazon company, but they also have a lot of podcasts. They've done a series called Presidents Are People Too, which I kind of like. They do an episode focusing on each president, in a sort of fun, like a kids show kind of way, but not for kids necessarily. I mean, it's not, it's kid friendly, but they've done a few original series, which is kind of interesting, and this one is done by Jon Ronson, who, if you remember the Justine Sacco thing, she tweeted, "I'm going to Africa, I'll probably get AIDS, kidding, I'm white," right? She had that tweet, she went on a flight, came back, and there's tons of backlash. So, he did a book focusing on her and other people called So You've Been Publicly Shamed. And it was very popular, and he's done some other interesting documentary-type projects. But The Butterfly Effect is something he took a year to do, and I believe there are only 7 episodes in the series. Not sure if he's going to do a season 2, but, it could be interesting to continue this. The story focuses on, as he puts it, a man called Fabian. Ronson's British, so he has that kind of subtle accent going. But Fabian is a guy who worked in tech, and he's from Quebec, I think Montreal, and that's where he is now. But he worked in tech and was kind of bored there, and ended up buying the site Pornhub. And from there, he went and he got a business loan for like $350 million, which is pointed out through the time of the series that adult film stars can't get bank accounts because of the business they're in. Yet this guy gets a $350 million bank loan to build a site that feeds off of that business. It's interesting because Fabian was a guy who used to trade passwords in early chat rooms and stuff like that for adult sites. Like he never paid for porn because he had all these passwords borrowed from other people. And he decided to kind of take the YouTube model with Pornhub and build it that way and get tons of free stuff over and over and over again, which of course hurts the producers, the actors, the directors, everybody else who's involved in pornography, in the adult film industry, I should say, specifically adult films, because it doesn't really, I suppose it hurts magazines. I don't know who really buying magazines. I think Playboy, they tried to go, and I think they're back to going nude. I don't know. But they try to go more in the Maxim direction. I don't know really. I look, as a mail carrier, deliver tons of magazines. Don't know who really, many people that really read them. I guess my daughter has a couple that she gets, that she reads. The second, they show up in the mail, she reads them cover to cover. So I guess there is that. But they're less ad focused than some magazines are. You're buying a stack of advertisements half the time. But anyway, that's beside the point. Pornhub has really just decimated the adult industry, and it goes through how Fabian went through, and as these other websites were suffering because their content was being put up for free on Pornhub, he started buying them up. And so now he owns YouPorn, he owns like XHamster or whatever these other sites are. He owns like Brazzers and Bang Bus and all these well-known websites for adult content that he basically decimated by allowing their stuff to go up for free. So now it doesn't matter if they're up on Pornhub for free, because he's still making money off of advertising, off of sending people back to these sites that he now owns, and so on and so forth. So it's really this, don't even want to say divide and conquer, it's just conquer the entire industry. So he's living in a fancy mansion with all this stuff. Ronson, during his year, talks to some people in the industry who have been hurt by this, including one producer-director who used to live in a nice house, he used to make a good living off of this stuff, and now is in a little apartment, barely squeaking by. He's just hardly making a living. You can't make much as an actor and actress anymore. People are putting up tons of amateur content and stuff like that, which, is fine. Nobody really crapped on that aspect of it, because it's, anybody can do their own thing, create their own website if they wanted to, you know what I mean, which saturates the market a bit. So that wasn't focused on as a problem. It's just putting this copywritten stuff up for free is the problem. And, by the time it gets taken down, if it does, people have already watched it, downloaded it, whatever. I mean, you can use Real Player and download videos off of any site, you know what I mean? So people have already stolen the material, essentially. So you just lose. So you have to crank out new stuff all the time to get anything. And it talked about the bespoke porn industry, which is kind of on-demand videos. It could be somebody, they talked about a guy who famously wanted actresses to just set his stamp collection on fire, and that was it. There's no sex in a lot of these bespoke videos. It's just kind of interesting. There's more watching people do specific things. It's crazy, but really interesting what people get excited by. So one of the more interesting things is that Ronson sets up a conversation between Fabian and the director that he speaks to during the course of the series to really, and it was a respectful conversation. That was the nice thing. There was no yelling, no arguing. It was the director saying, hey man, you're hurting us by taking our copywritten content. And I mean, this is the whole argument of Napster way back, but this is for porn. The problem is people care about music and movies. People don't care about the adult industry at all. They will utilize it on a daily basis, but they don't care about the people involved in it. It's like, I don't know, like they're not even human, which, is sad because they are people. And so what if that's what they do? You know what I mean? They're adults. Let them do what they do. And Montreal has a big industry too, which is probably why, Fabian said there. So it's not just in the US. There's, European stuff. Everybody worldwide is getting hurt by this if they're in that industry. So it's really interesting. And of course the title Butterfly Effect, one little thing Fabian did and it affected this and this and this. So it's really crazy to see how that industry has changed and become monopolized by one guy and a bank loan, But it's a really great series. Even, look, most people, adults today, have seen some sort of pornography, whether it's a magazine, a film, or something. To pretend that we don't use it or look at it or, enjoy it on some level is just lying to ourselves and the world. Of course, you know, and you're going to ask me, yes, I've looked at it. Of course, I'm admitting that because look, I'm an adult in the 21st century. I'm a 41-year-old man. Yes, I've looked at it, even, you know, since I was a kid. And that being said, like, obviously kids shouldn't see this stuff. Somebody who's in the industry once said to me that, using pornography to learn about sex is like watching the Fast and Furious to learn how to drive. You know, it's not, it's about the fantasy and, not the reality of sex. So, I don't know, but it's interesting what it does to people's, living, everything else, what Fabian has done. And he's living high on the hog and they're struggling, you know, because of him basically stealing from them or allowing, and that's the fine line. He's giving people a platform to steal. He's not doing the stealing himself. He's like Charles Manson. So, you know, rot in hell, Charles Manson. If you're defending him, that's such a weird thing. That I want a series on. The people that defend Charles Manson. Anyway. It's an interesting series. Go listen to it. Like I said, it's only 7 episodes. I listened to them all in one shot, like during a work day. I listened in double speed, but still it's, you know, 3.5 hours worth of, material. It's the length of, you know, one Joe Rogan podcast, essentially. So, and I don't mind telling people about other podcasts. On this podcast, it's a communal thing. And it's, you know, nothing to shy away from. So go check out The Butterfly Effect. On Audible. You don't have to be an Audible member. You can just find the RSS feed and download it in your normal, podcast player. Like I use Beyond Pod and I just pop the RSS in there. So, check that out. Also, if you want to support us, one great way to do that is to go to bunny17media.com. And when you buy any books, ebooks, you buy one, you buy all of them. You use the code CHC at checkout and you get 15% off. So, I mean, if you buy one ebook, let me think, here's one maybe Fabian needs. How to quit being an asshole in 5 easy steps. The ebook's only 99 cents. You still get 15% off of that if that's the only thing you buy. But that's a fun book. We sold a lot of those at Tucson Comic-Con. People enjoyed that one. And the book is only $5, I believe. So get 15% off of that one. You know, it's a fun little self-help book, by Calvin Mailer, 5 steps. You know, and he describes his own being an asshole and coming out of that, which a lot of self-help books tend to do. But, it's fun, presented in a funny way. But I don't know. It could help some people. I like it. I'm looking forward to that. You can even tweet Calvin Mailer at Calvin Mailer. He's not very active there, but you know, he does now and again. So go check that out, bunny17media.com, promo code CHC. Now, don't forget, head to cinemaheadcheese.com, check out all of our articles and podcasts there. abnormalentertainment.com for the entire podcast network. And, lots of fun over there. Lots of great stuff. Put It Together, Anywhere But Here, Mac and Cheese, Masterpiece Theater, Glory Hound and the Uninvited Gamers, The No Cry Zone, Demand the Cure. What else am I forgetting? I think that's it. I think that's most of it. Right now. I always forget something. The Year of Living Stevie. Go check out all those episodes. And Daryl is planning a big final episode for the Stevie season. And he's thinking about working on another artist for a second season of that show. So, and we'll see what goes. It's not an easy show to put together, but he's working on that last episode to wrap it up. So, good stuff all around. And anyway, thank you for tuning in. Always appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Subscribe and download back episodes of Cinema Head Cheese the podcast and read all of our movie reviews and news at cinemaheadcheese.com. email us at cinemaheadcheese@yahoo.com. Search Cinema Head Cheese on Facebook and tweet us at CINHeadCheese. And for more podcasts, books, comics, blogs, and videos, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.